To that larger question, Jon Meacham joins us now. John, I'm going to appeal to the historian in you, which I think is actually all of you, so this will work well. The arsenal of democracy, which I mentioned before, 1940, FDR makes that speech. Those automobile factories flip, GM and Ford, very quickly from making automobiles to making B-24 Liberators, one an hour at one point in the Ford factory. What kind of moment do we need here, and what kind of a president do we need here to inspire that, to get this country making masks? We don't even have to make a bomber, just make a bunch of masks and gloves and gowns and get them into these hospitals.
Yeah, I would say my instinct is to say this is not a time for politics, but this is precisely a time for politics in its purest sense. Yeah. Politics is about our common life. The root of the word is people, city, a group of people brought together. And so we need a president who will get the job done. FDR said in the 1930s, try something, try a method, and if it fails, admit it frankly and try another. But above all, try something. And this is not building a bomber. You're right. And what I would say to everybody is we are in a war. We are, the president himself, if you support the president, he has said this, he's used that vernacular. And think about this. The doctors, the first responders, the nurses, all the medical personnel, the testing people, they are the soldiers in this war. We're all part of it, obviously, because we could all be victims or carriers of it. But they are really the classic idea of a soldier. Imagine how you would feel if we were in a traditional shooting war and the commander-in-chief failed to put bullets in the rifles of our soldiers. That's where we are. And it's not even as complicated, I don't think, as making a bullet. And so this is as Joe Biden likes to say, this is the United States of America. We have defeated communist tyranny. We've defeated Nazi Germany. We've carried the idea, if not the reality, of equality throughout the world for 240 years. And we can't make masks? Really? Yeah. With this concentration of wealth, with this concentration of skill, we're going to isolate and watch these now sort of hour and 10, hour and 15 minute episodes of this Trump reality show that he does at midday, which is fine if it's a reality show for him, but this is our reality. It's unconscionable. And I think that, and as ever in America, by the way, the private sector, the citizens need to step forward. Because at this point, we cannot rely on the president to be a good and effective actor in this time of crisis. That's my historical view.
Yeah, we cannot rely. The leadership has failed from the get-go on this. We can't make masks. Think about that. It does take leadership to galvanize action, to mobilize a mass production of products that we needed time. We don't have it. And at this point, self-isolation, which we're going to talk a lot more about, because people need to ramp up. It's our one weapon against this. But this virus, to your point, Jon Meacham, to the concern that you were expressing about how unconscionable this is, our reality is this virus excludes nobody. Rich or poor, it doesn't respond to branding, and it totally debunks lies. And the leadership of this president is being exposed by this virus, which we'll talk more about because we're going to need help from the American people and from the private sector at this point, from what we're seeing. And still ahead on Morning Joe, there are some profiles in Courage happening right now. It took just one day for 1,000 retired doctors and nurses to answer Mayor Bill de Blasio's call to join the city's medical reserve. Those in private practice have also volunteered, credentialed medical students, federal medical workers, and those from out of state are also being recruited. Mayor de Blasio will be our guest. Plus, the word outrage is thrown around a lot these days, but this next story does fit the bill. Some senators selling key stocks to beat the market plunge, seemingly profiting off what they knew about the impending coronavirus outbreak. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.